Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our customer webinar. I think we've given most people a chance to sign on, and so we're going to get started. My name is Keaton Gerard, and I'm a customer care representative here at GroupLink on the customer care team, and I'm happy to be with you this morning. We have a great webinar planned, so we're going to get started. Today's webinar is going to be fantastic, but before we get started, let me just tell you about a promotion that we have going on right now. We've had a lot of people, we always have a lot of people, truthfully, ask about our add-on promotions, and so we just figured it would be a good idea to let you know about this one right now. You can receive an iPad mini for every 2 full technician licenses that you purchase by the end of March of this year. The iPad promotion is typically the most popular one we do. Everybody loves to get their hands on the iPads, and the iPad minis are just fantastic. If you haven't played with one yet, they're just the perfect size. They're great. I got one for Christmas, and I love it. But that's our promotion right now, an iPad mini for every 2 full technician licenses that you purchase by the end of March. Okay, so now you know about that. Let's move on. Let me introduce the presenters that are going to be with us today. We have Kyle Charlesworth, who's our international sales executive, and he's with us to talk with you guys and get feedback from our roadmap. We also have Amy Kaczynski, who's our marketing communications coordinator, and Catherine Thomas, who are our customer care manager that we're going to hear from Amy and Catherine a little bit later in our webinar. So let me give you the agenda rundown. First of all, we're going to do roadmap feedback. A lot of you, I know, attended our customer dinner at BrainShare. We went over the roadmap. We have lots of exciting things coming up, and for those of you who were there or weren't there, it's important that we get feedback from you on where we want to go. So during the feedback presentation, we're going to be asking you some questions, sending out some polls. So remember during the presentation to look over to your right side of the screen and where the polling panel will appear and participate in the polls. We'll let you know when we open them up for feedback. We're going to get feedback on a couple different items: network discovery utility, single sign-on, enhanced reporting, and their improved remote control feature. Then after that, Amy and Catherine are going to present on a couple different subjects. We're going to have a few short trainings using groups in the ACL for customized privileges, and that's a customer scenario from Matt Beckstrom at the Lewis and Clark Library. Managing hardware that's assigned out to users, and lastly, using workflow to implement approval processes. And that's a customer scenario from Elaine Parker with Danville Schools. So we're excited about the trainings and about our roadmap feedback, so we're going to get started. Kyle Charlesworth is going to speak about the roadmap, and I'm going to pass the ball over to him. Kyle, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, Keaton, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Let me make you the presenter. There
Great.
you go.
Always wanted to be the presenter. All right. Thanks, Keaton. Thanks, everybody. Glad you're here. We're really excited to kind of talk quickly. We're not going to take a ton of your time today in the webinar about this, but we really feel that it is important for the customers to have a voice and help us plan and implement some things that are happening with everything HelpDesk. So a few of the things we're talking about today are actual partnership relationships which we've developed and are pursuing integrating those products with the HelpDesk. And the others are internally developed by us. But all will require some development time, and so what we want from you is some feedback. We're going to open some polls in a few minutes about what you're currently using in some of these situations, but also we want to find out from you what's most important to you. So everything that I'm going to discuss, every slide you'll see of each of these items that Keaton briefly touched on already, will be coming to the HelpDesk. What we're looking for from you is importance and maybe when we have that show up in the HelpDesk. So let me jump here to the first thing we're going to talk about, which is the network discovery utility. So what the network discovery utility does, if you were at BrainShare, you got to see a little bit about this. Catherine presented on it. This is going to automatically sniff your network, import all devices, printers, servers, switches, and workstations. You'll be able to see an overview of each of those devices, including users tied to them, software that's installed, disk size, hardware, and services. And then you'll be able to build and manage alerts and run those alerts automatically. And those alerts can then be sent out to you via an email. This is actually a separate utility from the help desk completely. And so what we're looking for from you now, Keaton, if you want to open that poll for us.
All right, the poll is open, so you can go ahead and respond.
Great. You'll notice there at the top on your right hand, everyone, there's a time on the poll. So we're looking for what you currently use for network management. You can type an answer in there for us. That would be appreciated. And then would you like our network discovery utility to integrate with the help desk? This is kind of how important is that to you right up front. And what other solutions would you like to have the network discovery utility integrate with that you're using? If there's another solution that you think it would be beneficial for us to look at, we would like to know that. And just a reminder, as you answer these, be sure to click the submit button at the bottom right of the poll, or we won't get the information.
And while everybody's answering the poll, I think I should mention, sorry Kyle, I forgot to mention earlier that after the webinar presentation, we will have question and answer time, and we always have a lot of questions that we try to get answered. We try to answer every single one. So if you do have questions, don't worry, we will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation.
Thanks, Keaton. Also, if the polling window didn't pop up for you, it's on the right-hand side of your screen, and you can just click the icon next to polling, and it will appear.
Looks like there's another minute remaining on the poll. All right, we see a couple people still working on the poll, so we're just going to give you a couple more seconds to kind of finish up. And don't forget to hit the submit button.
Yeah, that's important to hit that submit button. And again, we really appreciate your feedback. This is very, very important for us in continuing to develop the help desk. Okay, it looks like the poll is ended. And so we'll move to our next area on the roadmap, which is single sign-on. We have some partners that do some wonderful things here that we're adding to the help desk. You know, obviously it's easier to click in multiple directory integrations, so you're going to be able to use this single sign-on with eDirectory, Active Directory, and LDAP simultaneously, so you can have multiple trees as well. And it'll work with Windows, Linux, Android, Mac, iPad, iPhone, so any device that you're currently using to access the help desk, you'll be able to just click in. And obviously single sign-on is important because it's more effective and it's a secure approach for you to access your network systems instantly. So we'll have Keaton launch that right now, their next poll for us. And so, I mean, these are some basic things about single sign-on, but really what we're looking at are do you use a single sign-on solution? If so, what are you currently using? And how many different applications do you use with single sign-on? This third one's going to be very important to us. We just want to know if we should be looking at other, if the majority of our customers are using similar products or solutions, we would like to integrate those directly with the single sign-on. Remember again after you answer these that you need to click the Submit button at the bottom right.
All right, so there's about 2 minutes left on this poll. A lot of you are already finished, but there are some still submitting answers, so we'll give you the time you need to finish the poll. There's about a minute left to finish the poll.
And again, if as we're discussing these different items, if you have more feedback that you'd like to provide besides the polling questions that we've asked, do not hesitate to contact us. Send us an email. You can actually submit a ticket in the system that can be enhancement requests. We love to get those. All of this information is vital to us in mapping out what we're going to do with the product.
All right, and everybody actually finished the poll a little bit early, so I just closed the poll.
All right, thanks, Heaton, appreciate it. Those first two that we've discussed there, Network Discovery Utility and Single Sign-On, are separate applications with which we would integrate into the help desk. The next two we want to kind of discuss are some things that are going to be just happening in the solution itself already. So the first is enhanced reporting. We're looking at aging reports and first-time response reports. You know, how long did it take us to you know, from the first time this ticket was opened until this time. So we're looking at these aging, these first-time reports, averages, being able to do gap reporting. It's pretty simple and basic things for the help desk, but we want to add to the system, and these are all coming, like I said again. The second thing is, you know, the remote control feature. So these are we already have a remote control in the help desk, which you know, but these are some of the things we're adding to it. You're going to be able to access from outside your network, the machines in your network. You're going to be able to chat using the remote control feature with the end user on the other side. You'll be able to have multiple participants in the remote session. So if you need to pull on another technician, or much like WebEx works, it will work the same way. And also you're going to be able to record that session so that you have it later to view, or maybe save as a knowledge-based article. Put it in a KB article so you can show people how to do things. So I think, is this our third and final poll, Keaton?
Indeed it is.
Okay, so I'll have you open that poll and then I'll explain a little bit what we want you to do.
It's open right now.
These things that are added to the system, they're going to be added, and so what we're looking for here is if you can rank in order what's most valuable to us. This is going to help us determine, as we continue this roadmap, what we're developing first. So how you would do this is, if you think single sign-on is most important to you, or you'd like to see it appear first with the solution, you would type B first, and then that's how we're going to rank them. So I would do, you know, if I said single sign-on is most important, B first, and then remote control C, and then D, and then A. I hope that's clear. So all you need to type in are the letters in the order that you think is most valuable.
All right, everybody has responded to the poll, and so that poll has been closed.
All right, thanks, Keaton. And again, thank you, everyone. This is very beneficial and helps us. And again, remember, all of these things are going to be added to the system. We just really need your feedback on how we're going to do that, time frame-wise. And we really appreciate you as customers and all the information that you provide to us. I'm going to pass you back on over to Keaton, and hope you enjoy the rest of the webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Kyle. We appreciate that presentation very much. And again, thank you so much for your feedback, everybody who's in attendance today. All right, so we're going to move on to the next part of our webinar. And so I'm going to bring on Amy Kaczynski, and she's going to present on a couple customer scenarios we have. And so I'm going to make her the presenter right now. And remember that after the webinar, we will have a question and answer session. And you can submit those in the Q&A, or you can use the chat, but it's easier if you use the Q&A. Make sure if you have any questions, submit it to us via the Q&A. Amy, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
All right, and I can see the sign-on page.
Okay, perfect. So today we're going to be talking about a few different customer scenarios that we experienced either at BrainShare or around the BrainShare time. The first scenario is one that I personally talked to. I talked with Matt Beckstrom from Lewis and Clark Library, and he basically told me that he has a group of like front desk employees that need to be able to see all tickets related to public computers, yet they need to have their own private tickets for other issues. So I was able to help Matt and walk him through how we would do this in the help desk, and I just wanted to share that with you so that we hopefully, if this is a scenario or if you have a scenario like this that you would be interested in, then you would be able to set up your help desk in this way. Now just a reminder, a lot of times we do have customers present on their own help desk in their own scenarios, which we always like to see, and if you're ever interested in that, just let us know. But the reason that we're not having the customers present today is because this is a new scenario to them. We just introduced it to them a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't want to put them in that situation to have to present on something that is so new. So we're just going to walk you through how we have it set up for them. So first of all, let me log in as the admin here on my demo site. So for Matt's scenario, what we decided to do was set up a new group for his public computers. So you'll see we come in here and I have this group called Public Computers, and I set it up with any categories or category options that may apply to those computers specifically. And then I just created the group roles. So your technicians and managers, these are, as you know, they're named licenses, so you can have a technician or manager be part of more than one group. Then the other thing that I did is here, these 4 people, and these are just in my demo site again. So these 4 are his front desk team, and I just made them members of this group. Now I'll show you why that's important from the permission model side. I have a separate permission model that I've created for this group. Now this group I don't want to be public. I don't want everyone to be able to submit tickets for the public computers. I only want that front desk team to be able to submit those tickets. So what I've done is a few different things in here. First of all, create new tickets. I've set that role to member. So any users in the system will not even see the public computers group appear when they're creating a new ticket. The other thing that I've done is set the priority and status so that our members can view those. Now Matt had told me that the reason he wanted to do this is because he has that front desk team that needs to be able to submit tickets and view all group tickets for those public computers, so that way he's not receiving 4 or 5 tickets about the same computer and the same issue. So we need to be able to see all group tickets for the public computers, and only members and above would be able to see those. And then they'd also need to know what is happening with those computers, what the status is, what the priority is. So I've set those roles here to member also. So I mean, it's a pretty basic scenario. We're just using groups and the ACL to set the permissions that we need to for this scenario. So the other thing that I did, and there's two ways to do this. The ideal situation would be that you use the asset tracker and tie your assets to your tickets. So when you submit that ticket, let me just log in as a member now and show you what that looks like. So this is a member of the Public Computers group. So I can submit a ticket in the Public Computers. Now, if you have the asset tracker, you would be able to tie the asset to the ticket here. However, I don't have the asset tracker set up in this demo, so I just set up a custom field for computer number. Now, a lot of times if it's public computers, you'll actually have like a number on the computer in the public library or something like that. So that's where this field would come into play. Now, the last thing that I've done for this scenario is set up on the member side. That's the members of the group, which is his front desk team. I've set up their My Tickets screen to include a public computers, open tickets, customized tab. Now this is just a custom filter that I've set up. Let me just show that to you real quick. It's basically just that the group is equal to public computers, and then I want to see the status is not closed. So that's anything that's open that's in the public computers group. And then I've just created that as a custom tab here on the My Ticket screen. So you can see that the contact, these are the people that submitted the ticket, are all the different members of the group. So I can see anything that's open here, yet I still have my private tickets that are in other groups. Now I think that about wraps up this scenario and what we've done to help Matt, and hopefully you'll see some use in a similar scenario in your organization. So our next scenario is going to be with Catherine. And I believe we can pass the ball on to Catherine.
All right. So I can see the screen. Catherine, I can see your site on screen.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
All right. I can hear you just fine. You're good to go.
Okay. I have two different scenarios to present here. The first one is with Elaine from Danville School District, and what they are doing is setting up a process in order to request applications to be installed on an iPad. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in as the admin to show you how this was set up. It's basically just a ticket template, but we're going to go through each item. So right here under templates, what we've named it is app request. And so I'm just going to go into edit mode here so that you can see everything. There's three different tickets that need to be generated here. And the first one is the actual request, which is coming from the teacher. So they can put in the ticket here and change the contact to whatever their name is. We're going to go with Jenna Dahlke. And then they can set the location. The group is going to default, or this is what we have set it up to default to, is the information technology. And we have set the category to software, the category option to iPad app, and then, of course, the assignment. This is who we would like it to go to first. And then the information here, these are all just custom fields that we've added. And so we're going to have, they would select whatever department that they are from. And then the next would be the name of the application. So in setting up the template here, you would set the ticket up exactly how you want it to be. If any of these items need to be required, when you set up your custom field, you can make those items required. Here we have the subject in, and then the next one would be the app code purchase. So this would be the next ticket that would be assigned after that. And then the last one is the application loading. So when you come in here, one of the first things that people ask me when I do trainings on templates, when they first start to create it, all they see here is templates, that there's nothing underneath, and they don't know how to get the blank form. So just a quick tip, if you right-click here and do Add New Template, that's what will give you the blank form so that you can fill all of this out. The Recurrence tab, we're not using on this particular situation, but we are using the workflow, meaning when you come here, you have to click here that says Enable Workflow. And what that does is it says when the first ticket is initiated by this teacher, which is app request, as soon as that goes to the technician or to the principal or whoever is going to be approving this, and that status is changed to approve, then the next template that's going to, or not the next template, the next ticket that's going to be launched is the app code purchase. And then as soon as they enter the code in order for that to be purchased, then the ticket for a technician to load that would be launched. And so that's how the workflow is going to go here. So if you see how these work together, under our tickets, those are the names, app request, app code purchase, and app load. And then in the workflow, we have each one listed here. So what I'm going to do now is sign on as a teacher so that you can see what it would look like on the teacher's end of it. When the teacher logs in, they're of course going to have their two tabs of Owned by Me or My Closed Tickets. And all they would do is click on Templates, because we marked this template as public, and they would simply launch the template. So here's the first initial app request. And the contact is obviously the teacher that logged in, and this is something that users cannot change. If for some reason the teacher is at a different location than what we said in the template, they can also select that here. We're going to leave that at North Elementary School. So here's the items that we entered, and then here's the items that they can choose from. So if the department, let's say this teacher is in math, and the app that they want to do is called Math Board. This one's optional. They can enter in the link if they know it or if they have it, or that can be left blank. You can also say who is requesting, if it's going to be the student or the teacher. And they would just go through and fill out the rest of this. So the cost of this particular app is $4.99. And then they also indicate how many apps they actually need, if they need it for one iPad or for an entire classroom. We'll just go ahead and put 25 for an entire class. They can enter in the class and the period that needs the app, the benefits of it in order for it to be approved. So the teacher would fill all of this out, go ahead and click Save, and then they're going to, in the upper right-hand corner here where it says Launch, they'll launch that ticket. So now that it's launched, it's going to go into the workflow that we set on the template itself. Then the teacher would just simply sign out, and because we entered that information on the workflow, it'll go through and be requested if it's approved or not. And if it is approved, it will go on and be loaded, and if it's not approved, then they will receive the information back as to why. So that's our first scenario, just basically how to use a template for something other than physically going out and doing maintenance or setting something up, installing something for a computer. It's just a basic approval process, so you could use that any which way. So the second scenario is
Catherine, can I make a quick note here before we start the second scenario? Sorry. I noticed some of you are typing in questions, and that's fantastic. If you have a question, just go ahead and type it in the Q&A anytime. We just want to make sure those people know that our Q&A session is at the end, so we'll get to all those questions after the next scenario. But go ahead and keep typing them in.
Okay, and yeah, and I can, I'll look at those questions, and if it's something I need to show you regarding that scenario, then I can do that too. So the next scenario, we had a customer who just wanted to somehow track in the system technology, meaning phones, computers, servers, printers, any sort of item that he needed to send out to a particular user or somebody in their company. They wanted to keep track of basically who had what. So what I'm going to do is log in as the administrator. The first thing that we did was we created a group for this particular item, because really only managers are going to use this. Users are not going to be putting in tickets. It's just basically going to be this department saying, I need someone to go install this desktop for this user. So we just named it Technology Distribution. And under that technology distribution, we named all of the different items that this particular institution would be handing out. So we have cell phones, desktops, laptops, monitor, printer, server, and tablet. Those were our categories. And then underneath, we of course, and this is just a demo, so we just listed a few phones, you know, a few different desktops, things like that. So once we had those set up, we then went into the assets, because we wanted to add in as much information about the asset that was being attached to the ticket and therefore being sent to a user. So what we did here, we have all of those different category options were basically the assets. And so when you add an asset, I'm just going to edit one here. There's only 4 things that are required. You can enter as much information as you want to, but the only things that are required here is the asset number, the name of the asset type, and the asset status. Now I think I jumped ahead of myself here. Before you add the asset, you will need to add the asset types. And this is what I matched to the category options, just to make it a little bit easier, so that when they selected the category option, it was just the exact type of what they were going to do or what they were going to send out. So we'll go back to the assets here. Sorry to confuse you a little bit. So this particular one, asset number, the name, the type, and the status. And the only 2 statuses that are entered here is active or inactive. And I also attached them to a group, just because if you are using the asset tracker in the help desk for more than one group, it's easy to see when you're looking at the entire list. You can also enter information here, model number, serial number, manufacturer, if you would like to. You can also enter under the accounting information. This is a little bit more detailed than it was before, but you could enter in the purchase order. Maybe the things that would be more important to you would be the warranty date, the disposal date, or the disposal method if you do in fact purge those items. So after all of that is set up, I'm just going to go ahead and log in as the technician. So I, being the technician or the manager, saying I need a technician to go and give this person or issue them an iPhone. I'm going to put in a ticket and just select the group that we created. The contact is obviously going to be me when I log in, but I'm going to change it to the person that I want this information to go to, or this asset to go to. I'll select the location that they're at. So under my categories here, I have all of my options, and I'm going to just do a cell phone. And then category option, I'm going to choose which cell phone I'm issuing. We're going to give him an iPhone 5. And now I'm going to say who I want to do this, who I want to issue this to him. I'm going to enter the model number just so that they can match them up. Now this, we did enter just a custom field here, but you could also enter this information on the asset itself, and then you would have that information stored there. So here, to attach the asset, I'm just going to click on the magnifying glass. Now, just so that you know, I'm working on our next releases demo. So this is one thing that they are working on right now, and that is when you click here, see how it's already populated my group, my category option, my location, and my category. What it will do is it will display anything that falls under that below here. So since that isn't all the way finished, I'm just going to hit clear and then click search, and this is going to pull up anything, any assets that are in the system right now. So I'm going to come down here and find the iPhone 5 and just click on the plus sign. And then you notice it's just put in that asset number. And so now we know that that asset is attached to this ticket. So in the subject, I will just put, please distribute, and I spelled that wrong. And then just go ahead and save that. So now, when my technician logs in, they will see that they need to take this iPhone 5, and when they go to the warehouse or wherever they need to get it, they can match it up with the asset information that's on the ticket. So this is just basically how to use the help desk in a different way other than an end user submitting a ticket and a technician going out. This is basically for managers and technicians to use to distribute hardware or software or anything that you need or want to their users. So that's it for my two scenarios. And again, if you type in questions and I need to log in, I can show you that stuff after Keaton finishes up.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Thanks a bunch for those last two scenarios. She did a wonderful job, as always. Amy, Kyle, and Catherine did a great job. So let's move on to our last section, which is our Q&A session. Some of you have already entered in questions, but just for the sake of getting all of them answered, we're going to give you just, and we usually just about a minute or two right now to type in the rest of your questions. So let's just pause for about 60 seconds. If you have any more questions, type them in, and then we'll be back in just a minute and we'll answer all the questions. So we'll just give you a minute to type in your questions. And again, they go into the Q&A box on the right. All right, we're starting to answer questions now. Make sure if you typed it in the chat or the Q&A, watch those boxes because some of them we will just answer back in those boxes. We'll send you a chat back. And some of them, like this one we're about to address, will be addressed over the audio. So Kyle's going to take a question right now.
Okay, thanks, Keaton. Casey had a question about some of the roadmap stuff we were doing regarding the roadmap. Roadmap is not actually a feature in the help desk. What we're talking about with the roadmap is, we're mapping out where the product is going, what we're adding to the product. So all the things that we discussed earlier, single sign-on, network discovery utility, enhanced reporting, and enhanced remote control feature will all be added to the system. I hope that clarifies Casey's question. Okay. There was another one that came in about using ZenWorks and EHD asset tracking without using different groups, and also Zen management for PCs. John wants to know about tracking additional units like cell phones and servers. So John, I bring both those questions up because they're kind of related. So John, whatever you're tracking using ZenWorks, you can. If it's not in ZenWorks, then you would have to use the built-in asset piece to track it, but currently you would have to create a separate group to do so. So that answers the other question that you can't use one group. One group cannot use both ZenWorks and the built-in asset piece. However, this was something that was brought to our attention at BrainShare that many customers are interested in using both in the same group. So that has been added to product review board meetings, and that will be reviewed internally. If you are interested in that, you could go ahead and put into the chat that you are to give us more information there, again, regarding the roadmap. Okay. There's a question from Tana about the remote control feature as an add-on, or if it's in the hosted version. It is available in the hosted version. The only version that it's not available in is if you're using our free version, which is 3 technicians or less, I think. And don't quote me on that. But that one will not have the remote control feature. But remote feature is already in the help desk, and you can do a lot of great things with it. We're just making some additions to it that we discussed earlier. Any other questions I can help with, Keaton?
Yeah, well, we'll just have, I saw one just come in that says, when will 10.0.2 be released? This is currently in beta testing. Look for an email. We're hoping sometime next week or the week after. Just look for an email on that. It's in beta testing. Let me check and make sure there's no questions that we missed. Looks like we still have a couple more.
We had another question from Noel about the enhanced remote features working with ZenWorks. It's still in development, and so I will have to double check on that for you with the developers. I don't see why it wouldn't, but again, they don't always listen to me. So I will double check on that and get back to you personally. Thanks. Amanda had a question about categories and category options being required. They used to be so in the system. Recently, with the addition of the ACL and the way that works with ticket templates, those were not required anymore. What's currently being discussed and is on the roadmap to happen in our patch after 10.02, which Keaton just let you know will be out in the next couple of weeks, will give you the option to decide that. So you will be able to decide what categories and category options will be required and not required. Good question, thank you. There was a question if the roadmap features we discussed earlier are going to be in 10.02. That's a no. These are going to be added to the system, but what you're allowing us to do by providing that feedback is, so everyone knows, here's what will happen. The feedback you've provided will go to our product review board, and they will take into consideration what you have said is most important to you, and then that will help decide on the roadmap when things are laid out to come out. So then development will work on, if single sign-on gets the most, then single sign-on would appear in the system first. So I would look for emails in the future, newsletters from GroupLink, and possibly, obviously in customer webinars, we'll let you know if and when these roadmap items, not if, but when these roadmap items will be added to HelpDesk. Stuart, you had a question about enabling the asset piece. We'll call and follow up with you specifically, but how it works is you have to assign each group the ability to use, if you want them to use the internal asset piece or ZenWorks. And that's in the management console. So Catherine will have somebody from customer care follow up with you and make sure you can get that taken care of. Thanks, good question. Connie, you have a good question regarding incorporating approval for your user. I'm racking my brain trying to figure out how I would do it. There's people here that are smarter than me. Maybe Gus. If you guys know Gus, maybe, but I don't know. Definitely not Mike Shepard. So anyways, we're going to track down a better answer for you there because I'm not sure how to answer your question. So look for a phone call.
All right, we just have like one or two more questions real quick.
Okay, looks like we have a question that says, what is 10.0.2 fixing? Just the issue mentioned earlier or other issues? I just pulled it up, and it looks like they just have one thing left to do, so that's good. But right now, there was a few, let's see, in the custom field edit, certain things were blanking out. The email to ticket feature, there was some smart quotes that it wasn't handling properly. It was putting in a bunch of weird characters. So anybody that had that issue, that will be fixed. Let's see. Right now, the assignments and the custom fields are triggered off of the category option because that was necessary in versions up until now. But now that the category option is not required, if you have users that are putting in a ticket and not selecting that, then the assignments or custom fields weren't being triggered. So now they will trigger off of the group or the location or the category and category option, however you have that set up for you or in your system. Some notifications were not being sent. Some email notifications were not being sent to either the technician or the user, and that has been fixed. Also, you could do a PDF, and if you went up to the top of it, you can change the ticket number and then view tickets that aren't assigned to you, or if you're a user, there are tickets that you know, could be a technician's that you don't have access to, but in that PDF, it was something that could be changed, so that is being fixed. And then as well on that asset screen, it will filter down so that you don't have to clear everything out and then search through all of the assets. And there's a few other fixes in the ACL, as well as right now, if you're filling out a survey, you have to log into the system in order to do so, and you won't have to do that anymore. You will be able to complete the survey without logging in. So there are some organizations that only have users, they only use the email to ticket feature. They don't actually want them logging in, but they do want them to take a survey. And so in the past, you couldn't do that. They couldn't take the survey because they didn't have a login. But now the survey will be sent to them and they can still fill that out. So hopefully that answered your question. When we release it and we have the release notes, I will have a lot more information with that so that you can see exactly everything. There was a few things when installing as well. So.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, one more question that we're going to tackle real quick. Kyle's going to talk about it.
Great, thanks, Keaton. A question from John, which might not be for everybody, but John had a question about closing tickets, and then when you reopen them, then when you're reporting on that closed ticket, you can have issues because it could have multiple close dates. That's what enhanced reporting is going to help us with, John, but currently what we recommend you do is have separate statuses so that if that ticket needs to be opened, again, you have more of a hard close. So you would do something like resolved and closed, and so then you would mark your ticket to a resolved status, which then you can have the scheduler automatically send out a note to the user saying, hey, we feel like we've resolved your issue, please let us know, and then you can have the scheduler again monitor if you'd like, and any ticket that's sat at resolved for X amount of days can then be closed automatically by the system, and another email can be sent. So if you use a custom status or create a new custom status so that your close process isn't just one step, it might be 2, it might be 3, and use the statuses to help you do that, then you can have more accurate reporting that way. But again, the enhanced reporting will allow you to do some of the things that I think you're looking for. Thanks, good question.
Thank you so much, Kyle. All right, now we have answered all of the questions. If you didn't hear an answer verbally, then just check the Q&A box. Every single question that came in, we either said this has been answered verbally or we gave a response in that box that you can check. If you have more questions, go ahead and type them in. We'll stay on for a minute or two to make sure that I get them. But the webinar is over now, and we've answered all the questions, and so we'd like to thank everybody for coming. Especially those who answered the polls and gave us feedback. We're so grateful for our customers. We enjoy the feedback that we get from them, and they are the ones who are telling us where to go. So thank you so much, everybody, for your input today. Thank you, Amy, Catherine, and Kyle, for doing a great job presenting. And if you have any more questions, let us know. But other than that, thank you so much for coming, and we hope you have a great Thursday. It is Thursday, right? Yes. Have a great rest of your Thursday, everybody. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.